If you don't know what wonyoungism is, it's a lifestyle, dog. It's people who are trying to emulate the certain je ne sais quoi of Wonyoung, of being like really pretty and organized and like clean girl and like a hardworking and like have a positive mentality. Anyway, it can get kind of obsessive though, and also sometimes it bridges with like the ED side of things. Anyway, so there's like a strong sense of like obsession, but I think a lot of people really just kind of like Wonyoung and want to emulate her. We're gonna see what Miss Thing thinks about this whole movement. With that being said, everything I say is all alleged and for entertainment purposes only. Peace and love. And let's go. Wonyoung. Okay, so this is Wonyoung, and the reverse is sort of like, that's actually strange. The first thing I heard was I'm bound by my image, but this card in the reverse position is sort of like being, sometimes they can talk about feeling trapped by like your opulence or even your status, because like this is a very rich woman. She has wonderful robes, lots of pentacles, you know what I mean? In the reverse, it can also, there's a bird right here, which can sometimes talk about a caged bird. Just off that card alone, it seems like she feels a sense of burden maybe, or just kind of trapped maybe by like her position or her image. Queen of Pentacles is about nurturing though and taking care of something. It's a nice card to get. It's also though about kind of like something to do with like labor and work. That card's not like I mean, it is a Pentacles card, yes, but the card is telling me there's something about labor and work. Anyway, the Six of Swords in the reverse position is like not being able to transition or move on. Like you're stuck in the same waters. You're going in circles again and again. That's the vibe it's giving. Oh. Well, I mean, low-key, like, the very first pull, it's giving me, like, she feels trapped. Because this card, too, was like, I want to move on. Like, in the upright, it'd be like, we're sailing. In the reverse, it's like, I can't move on. This is, like, feeling trapped. This is nurturing, though. Which, like, I want more information, but already this card is giving me something about, like, she wants to do something that's healthy for her, but she can't because it's connected to her image. I don't know. I mean, that's a dangerous thing to do. We're going to pull more cards, I guess, but anyway, I guess in regards to Wonyoung, there's, like, a sense of feeling trapped. Queen again, work. I get this. Oh my god. I've done maybe 4 readings on Wonyoung. This card always shows up so early on in the reading. It's like a pentacle balancing, like, you know, the physicalities of life, like money and well-being and health and like the physical building blocks of life and like trying to balance all that. She's a very busy person. She's got to be one of the most booked and busy idols out there currently. Queen of Swords, it's facing the Page of Pentacles. She is a Virgo, I'm pretty sure. That's the only thing I know about her astrology, but she is somebody who's very focused on her career. She's very focused on money and on building things. Like, she could be in any career at all, and she would probably still have that kind of like Wonyoung flair to her, where you can tell like she cares about like how things come across, but she also cares about competence and like, you know, she writes a lot of songs for IVE, right? Like she cares about her craft, whatever it is that she's doing. She could be like a nurse, and this would be the same instance. Queen of Swords. I'm careful. I'm very careful about what I say, because what I say manifests in the real world. Oh, okay. I don't know if Wonyoung is into manifestation or not, but there is something about, this is like a running theory. I have no reason I don't know if other people have talked about this, but I really believe some people are like fundamentally better at manifesting things than other people. I think some people just kind of experience roadblocks, and that's just like the vibe of their lifetime. I'm one of those people, whatever. Anyway, I think Wonyoung actually, like, she is somebody that like she can say stuff and it like comes to light, it comes to fruition. But whether she's conscious of this or not, there's something about like, I have to be careful about what I say because it comes out into like reality, good or bad. There's something about what I say or how I communicate like produces results. But this is, again, like, Page of Pentacles is, like, a young card, so it can also indicate, like, a little immature, or, like, not in, like, a childish way, but immature in the sense that it's not fully evolved. Ugh, yapping. 5 of Cups. Focusing on what we've lost. 8 of Intemperance. Yo, I'm gonna be so honest. I feel like she's come to a sense of like acceptance about wonyoungism. I think in the beginning, when it first popped off, she was kind of like confused, but like was into it. Not in a like wow, but in a corner like, oh okay, cool. Like I have influence, and I think that can be exciting. But I think like kind of quickly and like even kind of early on, she like started to kind of find it to be burdensome, if anything, and very like she's now boxed in. I don't know if everyone, I mean, Wonyoung was in IVE 1 before she went into IVE, so she already has like this reputation that predates her. I don't think everyone kind of early on in her career, including her, realized like how, you know, like that girl she is, you know what I mean? But it seems like wonyoungism is kind of like a burden, but it's not necessarily like a burden in the sense that people are following what I'm doing, but it's more like, I don't know if she has like people encouraging her to keep it up or whatever, but it's like I just like see her in a glass box, and I see her dressed really well, and she's very stiff in there. And it's sort of like someone is telling her not to move. So she's like, I have to maintain a certain type of image, or I have to maintain a certain type of like behavior in public to keep up with like the Wonyoung that I am. So I think this is related to not just wonyoungism, but just like her public image. I feel like I see this kind of a lot in a lot of K-pop readings, where it seems like there's like a separation between like this image that I'm projecting versus like who I am. This is true for Wonyoung as well. It's not to say that she's a completely different person. I do feel like there are aspects that like, you know, here's an example. You know how like Wonyoung, typically she doesn't have like nails on unless like they're promoting something. Because you know like K-pop idols will have like really beautiful nails when they're doing promotions. Outside of that though, I believe Wonyoung, the only reason I know this is because I saw a YouTube short that pointed it out, and now I notice all the time. I'm like, oh yeah. But she rarely ever has her nails done. They're just like clean and like shortcut and like normal looking, right? And I think there's something about that where it's like, she is the same as Wonyoung we know, who's the K-pop idol, versus like her when she's by herself. It's like the same in the sense of like she likes order, she likes structure, she likes fashion, she likes beauty, etc. But it's sort of like the Wonyoung that we see is like elevated and almost like perfected in a way that is stressful for her, which makes sense. I think if you're somebody and your image is supposed to be like, you know, super perfect all the time, there's a stress that weighs on her. I think there is a burden because she's just such, like, she is like the idol, you know what I mean? It's like, I mean, there's a lot of people who don't like Wonyoung, but I think everyone is sort of like, yeah, like, she's such a standout in terms of the lineup currently, you know? Not IVE, I love IVE. You know what's so crazy? Liz is actually my favorite in IVE. I just think she's cool. I don't like that she's into Harry Potter, though. Whatever. Anyway, so there's something about, like, people are gonna get mad. Anyway, because this is like the internet, like communication, but also kind of like audiences, like people watching her, and also the discourse around her. This is grief, which is sort of like what I've lost, which I think is like Wonyoung has lost sort of like the messier sides of her that she can't necessarily show in public, because that's just like such a, it's not even like it's not her, it's sort of like what people expect of me. What people expect of me is wonyoungism, where it's like, you know, I do Pilates and I'm really skinny and I always look really good and like I'm super poised or whatever. And it's like I am those things, but I'm also like not those things. You know what I mean? Because it's hard to maintain. Temperance is like balance, which again is like I'm trying to balance the two. At present, I think she went through such like a dark night of the soul maybe, or such like a shadow period where she really didn't like her public image, thought it was really burdensome, was very stressed out by it. I would imagine maybe in like the after like era, I don't know, because I'm seeing this has been a while. This has been like a couple of years. Now she just kind of accepts it, and I think she's created a better compartmentalism around her private self versus her public self. It's something she can, oh my god, is this what this is? Because this is about being able to manage things well. It's in the upright. I think this is like the two sides of her. Where it's like, because like I see her like on like a tightrope, and she's like doing well on the tightrope, where it's like I'm able to balance this even though I'm uncomfortable. That's what it's giving. It's like I built up enough muscle to be able to withstand like how people view me. But that wasn't always the case. It used to actually really stress her out and make her sad. I don't know if she'd want to change her public image. I can't tell. Anyway, the Fool in the reverse position. Yeah, this is like maturing, sobering up, becoming wiser. Knight of Cups, that's moving, emotion, emotionally walking away. That's interesting, because you got this card, right? And then early on, we got this card. And they're similar. This is like an inability to transition and move on. This is like walking away from something emotional. Both in the reverse is like I can't transition and I can't move on emotionally. Are we still on the wonyoungism now at all? Let me put you back. Knight of Cups, emotion. Oh, this is kind of this is still talking kind of about her public image, but there's something about emotion. Almost like she's emotionally changed from when she first debuted. I can't point figure this out, but there's something about like her emotional nature has changed, but we don't know that because we're looking at the public Wonyoung. But it's like her emotional nature has changed a lot, and she wants to like demonstrate that or show that. And maybe because the Fool is like maturing, so it's sort of like I have more depth than they're letting me show. I think because this is like walking around in emotional circles. Emotion meaning like temperament as well. There's something about like I want to like the Knight is like I want to like move on and level up emotionally with feelings with Cups can also talk about kind of like mood and like vibe, you know, like setting the mood in like your bedroom or something. There's something like that where it's like I want to level up, I want to like go up this like little mountain right here, and this is sort of like no, I don't know if it's her company that's imposing this on her, but it doesn't like it might be like her putting pressure on herself, but I think it's maybe both because there's a reason like I cannot level up or do what I want to do in that arena. It's interesting. Well, strength in the reverse. Okay. Hierophant, that's structures, institutions, you know, yeah. Government to a degree. And legacy. Strength in the reverse. Yeah, I guess it would be the company. I think it is the company, but don't think about it. And you know how I'm like, it's always the company. It is her company, Starship, and I think largely Cacao, but it's also just like the expectation of K-pop, where it's sort of like there's like this rigidity of K-pop idols to not really be emotional or talk about real things. You know, they talk about their comebacks and they talk about how everything is fine all the time, but they don't really talk about like you know, like I hate my fans, for example. I don't know if she does or not. Anyway, the Hierophant is like expectations. She feels burdened by that and she feels overpowered by it. It's like genuinely just like a glass box or like heavy weights around her, and she's sort of like, I don't know, I'm just like doing my best in the system that I'm currently in. I think she has a pretty positive attitude, I'm gonna be honest, because she doesn't feel sad. The sadness I feel in this reading feels old. Like she still carries it, but she herself is just sort of like, that's the game. She's genuinely such an interesting person. Like just so like clean. I don't know how to explain this. Just so clean. It's very like A plus B equals C. Like it's just like there's no like really melodrama about it with her. I don't know if she's suppressing or if that's just naturally her mentality where things are just very like quick to be organized for her. It's interesting. Everything there's like it's like things are so organized in how her energy comes across. I don't know how to explain that. Anyway, this is Legacy, which I think might be like a good card. I can't tell. Death. I knew it. Okay, this is great. Hopefully. Okay, so, but the strength is like, the Hierophant is like, this is like what you signed up for. The strength is sort of like the K-pop industry, wonyoungism at large. This is like overpowering me. Like, I can't be stronger than it. I can't, you know, be more emotional like I want to be, right? This is about legacy and the future and looking back at what you've achieved in your life. And then I pulled a clarification, which is the Death card, which is like a transformation, rebirth, like coming into your own or anew again. I feel like at some point she will be able to break out of this. I'm gonna be honest, it doesn't feel like for a really long time. Maybe until after Ive's contract is either ended or like it just like I see her being maybe like in her 30s when this happens, but it's like she's eventually going to have like this. It might be sooner. I mean, wouldn't that be cool? But it seems like it's going to be a while from now. But she's going to go through like a rebirth and a transformation where she can actually like be more herself and like comfortable in that. And I don't see it being jarring. It's just sort of like, well, she's older now. Love that for her. Two of Wands in the reverse position. In the near future, she feels kind of like she doesn't have a lot of control over what she does. I guess in how she presents, I don't know, because in my mind's eye I see her behind a desk, but I see people in suits kind of looming over her and like putting stuff on her desk, and then she looks kind of like what, like kind of not panicking, but sort of like, oh, I didn't want to do that, or like I guess. It's like interesting. It's like things are being put in front of her rather than her like selecting them. That's what I see when I look at this card. IDK. Anyway, but the Two of Wands in the reverse position is sort of like your plans or ideas not coming through, or not having a good enough plan in one way or another. This is like boundaries being like sometimes it's also like a cage. The Six of Pentacles in the reverse position is like an imbalance in giving. What I just like figured out, I feel like Wonyoung doesn't 100% like the more dangerous parts of like wonyoungism, about like maybe the parts that like you see sometimes in like the ED community, for example. I think she actually sees that and notices that, and she doesn't like it. She doesn't like how she's kind of like the face of certain people in like the ED community, if that makes sense. There's something about like because this is Pentacles can talk about health, and it's sort of like giving to one thing or another, and sort of like a reduction of something, which I think means weight. And there's something about like she I don't know if worry is the right word, but she doesn't like it. I don't know what emotion I would ascribe to that, but this is like pensiveness, almost like I don't know if she has like the strongest like way to articulate how she feels about that with herself, because I just feel her like, if like, you know, sometimes like you're scrolling through like social media or something, and I would imagine she probably comes across her face like, you know, at least sometimes, right? And so it's like I could imagine that like she sees something about like wonyoungism and like a weird diet or something, and then she just is sort of like, oh, like it like makes her sad, but she doesn't really know how to like work through that. I get that. Like, there's something about she doesn't like the more negative sides of wonyoungism. Like, it's not like she's ambivalent. It's not like she doesn't care. She's like stressed out by it, but she doesn't know what to do. And it's like, how do you even stop that? She's just sort of like, oh, I don't. But in general, I think this is part of a broader thing where it's like her public self and her private self to her feel like such a big gap, and she feels such an immense pressure and weight of her public image and expectations. That's all I can get about her. Well, good to know. Love Miss Wonyoung. If you have more questions about Miss Wonyoung, leave them in the comments. Maybe we'll get to them. With peace and love.